And feel free to move your bill, Representative Lippert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that House File 3236 be recommended for re-referral to the Energy and Climate Finance and Policy Division.
It looks like you have an amendment. Okay, we're going to do the presentations first, and then we'll do the amendment. Is that how you would like to proceed, Representative Lippert?
I believe Representative Cleavorn has an amendment.
I'm open to doing the presentation first if that's what you prefer, Chair. Would you like a copy of the amendment?
It's only a paragraph. Okay, we'll do the presentations first, and then we'll do the amendment later.
Okay.
So just proceed with the testimony, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, House File 3236 is a straightforward bill. It establishes a grant program under the Department of Commerce in order to award energy efficiency grants to nursing homes. The request is for a one-time appropriation of $20 million, and the maximum grant awarded would be $500,000 per applicant. The executive director of the Northfield Care Center, Kyle Nordine, wanted to be here to testify on behalf of the bill today, but had a conflict. He did share his views in a letter that's included in your packet. In the letter, he explains that the Northfield Care Center is a 42-bed nursing facility built in 1969. They have 62 windows in resident rooms that they would like to replace. This upgrade would increase energy efficiency and the quality of life of the residents. The project, though, would cost over $300,000, and that's cash the nursing facility doesn't have. They could apply for a threshold project, one of the existing options available to nursing homes to make improvements, but the threshold project process doesn't provide upfront cash. This grant program would. Kyle said to me that if you don't have cash available, even if you know you'll save money in the long term, you simply put those projects down to the bottom of the list. So allowing nursing facilities across our state to make these energy efficiency improvements would save taxpayers money as we're reducing costs to nursing homes. It'll be creating good jobs through these energy efficiency projects, and it'll be a good policy for the climate as well. And so at this point, I'll turn it over to Dylan Sievers from Fresh Energy.
Thank you, Representative.
Please introduce yourself to the committee and proceed.
Thank you. Chair Schultz, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dylan Sievers, Senior Policy Associate at Fresh Energy, an independent clean energy nonprofit with over 25 years experience providing policy and advocacy research on energy issues across Minnesota. I'm here today in support of Representative Lippert's House File 3236, a bill that would accelerate Minnesota's transition to a cleaner, healthier, and more efficient economy by creating a grant program to assist Minnesota's nursing homes in developing and funding cost-effective energy efficiency improvements. Energy efficiency has a proven track record of success in cutting energy use and utility bills in Minnesota. Costing less than 2 cents per kilowatt hour to produce, energy efficiency is the state's cheapest and most affordable way to meet our energy needs. It is 3 times less expensive than new gas or coal and half the cost of new wind generation. As large energy consumers caring for their residents 24/7, Minnesota's nursing homes have much to gain by becoming more energy efficient. A recent report by the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy states that through energy efficiency, the state can cut its energy use and greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2050, effectively getting us halfway to our climate goals. The report goes on to state that 40% of those savings will need to come from improving our buildings, which is important for Minnesota because energy efficiency is a major job creator that strengthens and supports our local economies. Energy efficiency is the energy industry's fastest growing and largest job sector and accounts for over 45,000 jobs located all across Minnesota. The large number and geographic diversity of Minnesota's nursing homes contributes to why this bill is good for all Minnesotans. Lastly, and of significance to this committee, is that improving the energy efficiency of our nursing homes and buildings has shown to have significant positive health and safety benefits to building occupants. By supporting energy efficient nursing homes, we can ensure that our seniors and senior care workers are healthy and comfortable in their homes and workplaces, and that Minnesota is well prepared to meet the needs of its aging seniors for years to come. Fresh Energy is proud to support Minnesota's leadership on energy efficiency and proud to support Representative Lippert's House File 3236. I appreciate the opportunity to testify. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Do you have another testifier, Representative Lippert?
Yes, Madam Chair. Bernie Hesse is here as well.
Hello, Mr. Hess. Introduce yourself for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. My name's Bernie Hess. I'm here today representing the United Food and Commercial Workers Union and other unions that represent over 10,000 hardworking folks in the nursing home industry in Minnesota. In too many communities around our state, good-paying jobs are hard to come by. For many communities, nursing homes are the employer. We support House File 3236 because it will spur the growth of good-paying jobs in every corner of the state. We have over 400 nursing homes in Minnesota, and investing in them to make them more energy efficient is a way to reduce unnecessary energy waste, put people in the skilled trades to work, and to make those necessary upgrades and updates to the facilities. Energy efficient buildings will improve the health outcomes for our residents and working conditions for our members. Resident health and employee productivity are largely affected by the physical work environment, specifically temperature, air quality, and lighting. Energy efficiency measures can increase low ventilation rates, which will reduce the risk of transmitting infectious diseases and airborne illnesses. A healthier, more comfortable work environment improves productivity and decreases employee absenteeism. Further, it can reduce psychological stress, sick days, asthma symptoms, respiratory illnesses, and even chronic pulmonary disease and cancer. It will help create energy efficiency jobs as well. There are over 61,000 Minnesotans already working in the state's clean economy, and almost 75% of those jobs in energy efficiency. Everything from manufacturing windows to the workers upgrading and installing heating and ventilation systems. An estimated 40% of clean energy jobs in the state are in greater Minnesota. We'd like to thank Representative Lippert for bringing this bill forward, and we urge you to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lippert and Mr. Hess. Are there questions for the testifiers or for the bill author? Representative Gruenhagen?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just Representative Lippert, you mentioned the Threshold Project. So that's a project that they could also apply for this type of funding. And I didn't catch what's the problem there?
Representative Lippert?
So, thank you, Madam Chair, Representative Gruenhagen. So the problem, as I understand it, is that through the threshold project process, there isn't upfront cash made available, and so it's one option for doing projects that would improve a facility, but it's difficult for these kinds of projects because there just isn't that cash made available.
Representative Gruenhagen?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so if the threshold project's available for these types of projects, but there's no upfront cash, when do they get the cash? After the project is completed?
Representative
Or
Lippert?
how does that work? I guess, why, I want energy efficient buildings too. It's just the thing is, if we have a program already, I don't know if tacking another 20 million onto it is necessary.
Representative Lippert?
If somebody else wants to address it too, that's fine.
So, and I believe Kyle Nordine speaks to this some in the letter as well, that that because of the delay in, are you able to respond to it?
Please introduce yourself. And
Good afternoon. My
proceed.
name is Kim Brenny. I work in the Nursing Facility Rates and Policy Division at the Department of Human Services. Madam Chair, members, the answer to that is they get reimbursed after the project over a course of time in their rates, in their daily rates to the facilities.
So, Madam Chair.
Gruenhagen?
Yeah, so they do get the money, it's just delayed, and it's increased in their rates as far as their, what they're paid for the nursing facility. Do I understand that correctly?
Madam Chair, members, that is correct. There are certain guidelines, thresholds. I mean, it's called a threshold project because they have to spend a minimum amount, but less than the moratorium amount, and that dollar amount's changed every year, and there's other criteria, but they are able to submit projects like this or other types of projects and seek, so they're not getting paid right when the project is done. They're submitting their receipts to us, and we're reviewing that information. And then there's a formula that is used to make a rate increase for these types of projects. There are some facilities in the state that because of the property rate setting system, they would not be eligible for this. So not every single facility in the state would be eligible for this, but the threshold project is a rate mechanism for smaller projects like this.
Representative Gruenhagen?
Oh, the reason that I bring this up is, Chair Schultz and I were on a panel for some pharmacists over at the Capitol Ridge there. Thank you. Men always need a little help, by the way. No. We're sent when all the facts I've received, all the way back to, State Demographer Tom Gillespie, is our HHS budget is growing at a rate that is simply unsustainable. In fact, if it keeps growing at the rate it is, we're not going to have any additional money for K-12, higher ed, or roads or bridges. So, I just think we got to be real careful of just piling more money onto a system, however well intended, if there are other programs available. And maybe, I don't know if that's a federal program, federal and state, or a state program, maybe we need to modify that in some way rather than, spend another $20 million on the project or of money on there. And we all know we got more needs than we got money. And I think we got to really squeeze these, the additional dollars that we're putting in because of the rate of growth of this particular area in the state budget. So that's just, if you want to respond to that, those are some of my thoughts.
Representative Lippert?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Representative Gruenhagen. So this is a grant program through the Department of Commerce. So it's a separate pot of money. And what I'm hearing from nursing facility directors like Kyle Nordine and Northfield is that they aren't able to do these sorts of energy efficiency projects that they know would save them long term and would save taxpayers long term. So making these funds available would allow us to lower the burden on taxpayers through reimbursement over time. But that the obstacle is having cash on hand, and this grant program would allow for that.
So I just want to add to that so it's not in the Health and Human Services budget, but it will reduce the operational costs for nursing homes. So we know we don't have those cost savings necessarily in fiscal notes, but that's what nursing homes are telling us, is that it would save money over the long run. So Representative Gruenhagen?
Yeah, and I'd just say, I think we should try to tweak the current program that's available before we spend an additional $20 million. I mean, that's just my initial, there's always more needs in our state than we have money. And if there is a project available to do these or funds available to do these types of projects, and maybe it needs to be tweaked, I don't know, but I think we should look there first. Again, I'm not in any way trying to undermine your intent. I think your intent is very good, Representative Lippert. But I just think we got to squeeze every dollar that we spend in a way that if there's other money available, it's hard for me to support another $20 million on there without understanding how we might modify the threshold project to meet that need. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do you want to respond to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Representative. I would simply say that I think this is a very, very cost-effective way to be investing these dollars this year.
Thank you. And Representative Munson, I think, has this question along similar lines.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. You probably yes. Representative Lippert, thanks for bringing the bill forward. I too have concerns about the cost of this, not only the $20 million, but the fact that the Commissioner of Commerce can be paid up to $1 million to administer this program over 2 years. That's also a concern because I see this a lot when the programs come through and we see all this money and then buried in the bill where it says that the bureaucrats in government agencies can spend up to 5% of the cost or whatever the number is on these bills. This one happens to be 5%, so that's $1 million going to the Department of Commerce for cutting some checks and reviewing some applications. And, you know, in the application process laid out in here where you go through the 8 points that you're going to be scoring these projects on, you know, the first one, a reduction in energy uses in customer bills. I think you could argue that potentially you could reduce energy costs by spending $500,000 on some, you know, solar project or something for a nursing facility, but it's whether or not you reduce customer bills through that same amount might not follow through. I don't know if there's enough scrutiny on that, but all the rest of them are really, you know, positive impacts on the community. I think it's pretty subjective on how you can judge things, and I'm afraid reducing the actual cost isn't going to be the main reason why you're doing it. You know, reduction in fossil fuel emissions. I mean, I know that's your main agenda, but like the project that the letter came in from support, they're already 100% electric on their heat, which doesn't use any fossil fuels. But the author of the letter also says, obviously, this is not the most cost-effective energy solution because they're all electric. So concerns over the project, again, like Representative Grunhagen said, spending $20 million when we have so many needs out there for mental health in other projects, and we have nursing facilities that may not be the most energy efficient, but they're trying to prevent leaks and trying to keep afloat so that they can keep the lights on in their facility when they're losing patients, and as we're keeping more and more homes. So there's a lot of in my district, a lot of small nursing homes that only have capacity, and they're trying to figure out how to keep afloat. Also, I just had a question on the threshold project that you guys were speaking of. I know that the formula and how we pay nursing homes takes into consideration their energy efficiency. Is that what you were talking about with the threshold project?
Representative Lippert?
I may need my threshold expert. I think mostly related to the threshold project, the concern is related to just when that money is going to be coming in through the rates, and there's a lag in time. But
Can you state your name for the record one more time, please?
Kim Brenny, Department of Human Services.
Thank you.
So threshold projects can be used for a variety of things. They do not need to be clean energy associated. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Representative Munson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my question is, in the funding formula to determine the rate that's allowed for a nursing facility, isn't energy efficiency part of that rate, or is it not part of that formula to calculate the rate?
Ms. Burney?
That is not a consideration when computing the threshold rate or the total nursing facility rate. Utility costs are part of the operating price, which is set by the Metro Median facility for all the facilities in the state. So it's really not a factor on any rate-setting component currently for nursing homes.
Okay.
Representative Munson?
Yeah, and just one further question, Madam Chair, or comment, Madam Chair, in the bill where we talk about the cost of energy. One of the reasons why electrical bills for nursing facilities are already increasing is because of energy efficiency projects that are put in by the energy utility company. I mean, Xcel Energy is talking about raising the rates by 15%. Also, Xcel Energy built ratepayers out of $150 million last year through energy efficiency projects, and then puts that into the bill for all the facilities to pay. So it's a lot of these projects are not being vetted on the economics of them, and that's also driving the cost for facilities up. So I think I have concerns over that, so I'll be a no vote on this bill, but I would hope that we can find a better use for the $20 million for greater needs for Minnesotans.
Okay, Representative Cleveland?
Madam Chair, could I respond
ahead,
quickly?
Representative Lippert.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Representative. So as you were talking, I was just thinking about the time I've spent with residents in their rooms in this particular facility, and the windows are very large and prominent, and the residents also like their rooms to be very warm. And so I can imagine this is not a very efficient situation if you have old windows that need to be replaced and have been needing to be replaced for a long time. So I'm trusting the head of this facility that that they need some more cash available, and that this is a project that would help them lower their costs. And so I think we should be supporting them in that.
Okay, before we proceed, I just also want to note, to help answer Representative Munson's questions, is that if all of this money is not used, the remainder goes to the general fund. So doesn't mean that we're going to spend 20 million. There's 20 million available through this process for these projects. Also, this will go to Energy and Climate Finance and Policy Division, where they know a lot more about energy policy than I do, or maybe you do as well, and so they can maybe vet that further. But now I'm going to go to Representative Cleaborn.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Representative Lippert, I want to thank you for bringing this bill forward. There is a nursing home facility that is in my city of Plymouth, but just outside of my district. And like your visits, when I visit people there as well, they too would like to have their rooms warm in an old drafty building. So I just want to say thank you for that. Madam Chair, my amendment is the A2 amendment, and it puts into, there is a correction that actually needs to be made on this. So if I could ask for,
Would you like to move your amendment?
I would like to move my amendment.
So Representative Cleaborn makes a motion to move her amendment 8-2 to House File 3236.
That's great. And if you would look at line 1.2 of the amendment itself, it says before grants, insert A, but that is not singular, plural together. So it should say a grant, not a, is that incorrect? Thank you. Please help me.
Madam Chair, it's inserting a parenthesis
Oh,
A. That's the beginning of a
I
paragraph.
apologize. I read that improperly. Thank you so much for correcting my error. Thank you.
So we don't need to amend the
So no amendment to this amendment. It is correct as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cleaborn. So Cleaborn makes a motion to amend House File 3236 with the A2 amendment. All in favor?
Well,
Oh, sorry.
Question.
Representative Grunhagen.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Representative Cleaborn,
Yes.
my concern is I think this amendment adds prevailing wage to the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And, Madam Chair,
Grunhagen?
according to the Minnesota Chamber, we have the 4th highest prevailing wage law in the nation. And it artificially inflates the cost of all government projects to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars per year. And I'd rather, let's let the market decide that. Let's not artificially inflate it. And I'll just give you one example from a town hall meeting a few years ago that I had. They were fixing a road out in my area, and one of the individuals who came to my town hall owned a gravel truck, and he charged $28 an hour to use the gravel truck. Well, they accepted him as helping with the road project, but they said, we're paying you $45 an hour. He said, I don't need 45, I charge 28. But they paid him 45, okay? So the effect of this is on the $20 million, is to use a lot of it up in a less efficient way to actually meet the needs of the people in the nursing home. Without your amendment, that money will go a lot further than it would otherwise. So, and hey, I'm all about paying people, a good wage. When I was on the school board, we were always in the top 2 or 3 in the conference in terms of our salary and benefits. But I think in this particular case, it would be nice if you withdrew the amendment and let the money be used in a more efficient way to help as many people as possible if this bill is going to pass.
Representative Cleaborn?
Yes, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative. I appreciate your concerns, but prevailing wage requirements for state-funded projects like this support high-quality local jobs and our local contractors. They also ensure that the work is performed properly, and this will mean that we will actually see the energy, health, and environmental benefits be realized. And I just want everybody on the committee to know that these are local jobs that are good-paying jobs that can't be outsourced. So, Chair and members, I ask for your support for this amendment. Thank you.
Any other questions on the amendment before we take the vote? Okay, I want to thank Representative Cleaborn for bringing this amendment forward. I know having prevailing wages is important. It's spurs the economy when we are paying people living wages. So it really does help local economies that may need it.
Jobs away.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on the motion to amend with House File 3236 with the 8-2 amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so the amendment is adopted. Any other questions on House File 3236 as amended? Representative Keel.
I'll make this point. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make this point just because we're talking about prevailing wage. I think rural Minnesota has a different perspective on prevailing wage than the metro area does, and it does affect our ability to provide jobs for people and work. There is a difference. We hear from other businesses all the time that are able to do things or don't get jobs because of their situation. So that's not why I wanted to say anything at all. I am certainly on this bill. I understand the efficiency in making sure that our nursing homes are up to standards and are efficient. But one other way for nursing homes to be able to afford care is, remember last year, I think it was, that we were cutting nursing home funding. Nursing homes have to have that support in order to do their buildings as well as care for their residents. And so we have to remember that in order for them to be efficient and do the things that need to be done to care for our seniors or those who have disabilities, that we also need funding there. So I just want to make a point of that we talked heavily about cutting nursing homes last year, not something I was in favor of. And nursing homes are becoming far and few in my area. So we're ending up having to travel a ways to even find care. So this is important, but it is also important that we make sure we fund nursing homes. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Keel. Any other questions or comments? Okay, do you want to renew your motion?
Yes,
Representative
Madam
Lippert?
Chair, I'll renew my motion that House File 3236 be recommended for referral to the Energy and Climate Finance and Policy
As
Division.
amended.
As amended.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. Motion prevails and the House file is on its way to Energy and Climate.